Hi, my name is Sarah Pereira. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist and co-owner of Sensational Development Occupational Therapy located on Long Island. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about a very common intervention strategy that we use here in the clinic, and we often get a lot of misconceptions about. So that is called a sensory diet. A sensory diet is a tool or strategy that an occupational therapist and a family will collaborate on and develop for in use at home, out in the community, throughout the school day. And the goal of a sensory diet is to maintain or achieve a calm, regulated, grounded state, or what we often will say an optimal level of arousal. I want you to think about the activities that are prescribed or suggested as part of a sensory diet as being nourishment for the central nervous system. So they don't necessarily include food, although they may. If we find that oral sensory input is a calming thing for a child, we might suggest crunchy snacks, or we might suggest thick liquids through a straw, because that is something that we notice in therapy helps the child stay regulated. When developing the sensory diet, what we want to know is, what does your routine look like? What is a natural routine of your day? What is available to you in your home? Do you have a swing set in the backyard? Do you happen to have a swing in the living room or a sensory gym in your basement? Do you have a playground nearby? Is there space? What kind of space do you have? Or what kind of toys and equipment do you have? We also want to know about your routines. What are the routines that this child is experiencing throughout their day, a weekday versus a weekend? And where are they experiencing the most difficulty? Where do they have trouble staying regulated? Do they have difficulty with transitions? A sensory diet may also include suggestions for transition strategies. 3 things you need to consider when developing a sensory diet are frequency, intensity, and duration. So when we're suggesting therapeutic activities to be incorporated in a sensory diet and used throughout a child's day, we're going to start to play around with how often do they need to be done, how frequent. Intensity, how intense does this input need to be? Okay, can they simply jump on a trampoline or do a little bit of heavy work, carry, a weighted ball, or push a basket full of laundry down the hallway for mom? Or do we really need to work those muscles a little bit harder? Do we need to make big sandwiches with pillows and maybe push the heaviest things we can find and unload jugs of water out of the car after a trip to Costco? That's where we're going to start to play around with how intense does the input need to be. Can they get a little bit of movement while seated on a ball or a move and sit cushion? Or do we need to head out to that swing set and move really far and wide through space? And then we have duration. Can we do these activities for a short period of time? Do we just need a short, quick break? Sensory break, and then we're able to go back onto the next thing? Or do we need to carve out a good 15-20 minutes or more to spend outside on a swing or doing whatever the activity is that, through a little bit of detective work and some therapy, we figure out works for a child? But the goal of a sensory diet is to help reach and maintain an optimal level of arousal throughout the day. It's also important to consider that we don't expect children, nor should anyone, it doesn't work for ourselves either, is to maintain that even level of arousal all the time. There are appropriate times where a child's arousal level may be low, when they first wake up in the morning, before going to bed at night, if they're just hanging out on the couch on a rainy afternoon like today. The other thing to consider is that there's really appropriate times for them to have a high arousal level. Is it when they're out at recess or running around the backyard with their siblings? There's many times where a fluctuating arousal level is absolutely expected, but we do need to keep in mind there's also many times where an optimal arousal level is necessary for safety, attention, and engaging in childhood occupations such as the school day or family activities, the dinner table, homework, self-care, getting yourself dressed, and following the natural routines of the family. So occupational therapists who are trained in sensory integration are well-versed in creating sensory diets with families and being able to tweak them. The other important factor is that it's often something that is ongoing and will be changed and adjusted as the child develops. If you have any concerns or questions, or you think a sensory diet could be right for your family and your child, please contact us at Sensational Development. We are happy to help. We have consults, therapists available to do consults, and we're happy to work with families to develop those while they're in therapy with us. Thank you.